extraordinary achievement. Donald Trump winning praise even from some TDS sufferers, which is nice to see. So even some of them have reluctantly given him credit. But this is nothing new. He's done 7 or 8 peace deals in fairly quick time, from Armenia and Azerbaijan, Pakistan, India,
Rwanda.
But this was obviously the most difficult, and the one where he has really brought in the entire Arab and Muslim world, not just the Arab world, into it. So that he really has been quite artful in how he's put this together. I think special credit should go to Stephen Witkoff, the Middle East Envoy, Special Envoy, who, again, copped so much criticism, including from some conservatives who should know better, but they got it done. Sometimes you need to have people who are not traditional politicians or diplomats, because that way hasn't worked. It hasn't worked for decades. Here you've got essentially real estate guys used to doing deals, used to understanding the mindset of people from the Middle East and elsewhere, and knowing how you can manoeuvre them to a position where you can do a deal. And that's what they've managed to achieve here.
Well, that's exactly the thing here. Everything that Donald Trump has been criticized for since his first term, since he first came down that golden escalator, has been the reason why he has been able to achieve what he has done. Decades and decades and decades of wrong-headed thinking about the Middle East, about the Israeli-Palestine conflict, about this whole idea of the two-state solution where you have to give them the state first and then you have peace. All of that nonsense typified and reified by the Albanese Wong, hey, this was the Penny Wong peace plan nonsense, which we'll talk about in a moment. But everything here about Trump that is contradictory to that foreign policy establishment, the Washington establishment, has been exactly what this needed. And what he did, you mentioned construction, making deals. Absolutely. He started out his career in the 70s and 80s building in New York and New Jersey when it was a lot of tough guys, very similar, probably in, personality and outlook in terms of power politics, let's just say, to some of the people who might have been necessary to speak to if you wanted to get your concrete poured and not wind up in the foundation, if you know what I'm trying to say. But put that aside. The other thing, too, is that he took the whole Iran thing that Obama did, and Obama, his whole, wrecking the Middle East with the Arab Spring and everything else. Why he ever got a peace prize, I have no idea. But the key thing he did, he understood that what you had to do was isolate Hamas from its friends in the Middle East. So he did that with Turkey, who want F-35s. That strike that Netanyahu did on the Hamas guys in Qatar, that was a warning. And if that Middle East base that the U.S. had in Qatar goes, and we don't want to deal with you anymore, that whole country is gone. That whole royal family doesn't exist anymore. Egypt, terrified of the war spilling over into Sinai. All of these different groups that had, in different sort of ways, had relationships with Hamas. Hamas was left without any choice, legitimately, literally, an offer they could not refuse because they had no friends left. Nobody else. Iran, of course, out of the game after the strikes on their nuclear program. And he has not gotten enough credit for all of that.
For that strike against Iran's nuclear facilities, but also that threatened to blow up into backwards and forward strikes. And remember when he came out and said they've been fighting so long, neither side knows what the F they're doing. And that saw an enduring, thus far, ceasefire between Israel and Iran, because that looked like it was going to get out of control. So that is, again, something that I think, in normal circumstances, a world leader would get enormous credit for. But with Trump, he doesn't. But this is just so monumental, so important that even people who are just so reluctant to give Donald Trump any praise are acknowledging what an incredible achievement this is.
Absolutely, but let's also not forget, absolutely 100% kudos to Trump. Let's not forget the role Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli Defense Force have played in all of this, because you're right, James and Rita, that it was Hamas basically lost all their friends, but they lost not only their friends, their friends were defeated militarily. Hezbollah was smashed by Israel. You had the Houthis being attacked. and smashed. You had the Iran thing that Rita was referring to as absolutely critical. Remember, before Trump actually went and finished the job, the Israelis were in there attacking Iran. We had that amazing Hezbollah strike where they used the pages to blow up all the leaders. So it reached the point where Hamas was just literally the slogan, peace through strength, is what we have seen. We have seen strong Israeli military backed up by the Americans, backed up by a very strong American president who hasn't needed to commit much in the way of military forces. But when he did, that strike on Iran was perfect. One B-52 sortie, bang, job done. And the rest of the Middle East has gone, whoa, suddenly we're dealing with a whole new paradigm, a strong Israel backed by a strong America, strong military Israel, strong leadership in Israel, strong military America. That is peace through strength. It will completely change the way the Middle East operates.
And yet, you know, it's that whole thing, and Trump has said this before in other circumstances, you know, I don't get any credit for it, and it's okay, I never do. And this is the thing, he's not getting any credit for this here. Barack Obama, completely churlish about this. Gavin Newsom, churlish. Yep. A lot of the newspapers completely churlish about this. And personally, you know, I think that
Barack Obama
does not mention Donald Trump's name once in this whole thing. And, of course, it was Barack Obama whose entire foreign policy was about, this is sociopathically stupid, was about reorienting the Middle East so that Iran was the dominant power, not Israel. I mean, this was insanity. And the Biden administration continued that because, of course, Obama was in Washington, living in Washington, basically running White House foreign policy, while Joe Biden was getting increasingly jelly-brained as president. and you know, for all of these people on the left, and you see a lot of them, you know, you would think that all the people who are out there had been protesting about end the genocide, end the war, stop this peace in Palestine, would be thrilled that there's a ceasefire. And yet, oddly, no, because what they want to do, they want to keep making it A, all about themselves, and B, bashing Israel.